Okay, today starts algebra, and today we're going to be looking at evaluating algebraic expressions. All right, so we have been working with numerical expressions. So numerical expression, a numerical expression is a math sentence with numbers and operations, but no equal sign. So when we've been doing work with the order of operations, we have been using numerical expressions. Take a second to look at the examples on the side. They are all numerical expressions. Now, today we're going to look a little bit at numerical expressions, but then we're going to start looking at algebraic expressions. An algebraic expression is a math sentence that contains at least one variable, and we're going to talk more about what variables are in a little bit, and at least one operation. And a variable is a letter that stands for a number. Okay, it can be any letter and it's representing a number. So here are examples of all kinds of different algebraic expressions. We've got k plus 4, 79 minus y, 3t. We have some numerical ones like 11 times 12. That's a numerical expression. But all the rest of them, here's another numerical expression. All the rest of them seem to be algebraic. Here's one more numeric that I caught. I'm sure there may be others. So algebraic versus numerical. An algebraic expression could be something like 5x plus 2, while a numerical one would just be 5 plus 2. Or you could have y minus 3. A numerical expression could be 7 minus 3. We can make them longer. We can do x divided by 5. Plus 4. And here I could have 10 divided by 5 plus 4. Okay, we can put exponents in there. We can put parentheses in there. But the big difference is that the algebraic expression has to have this thing called a variable. It has to have this letter in there. Again, it doesn't matter what the letter is, but algebraic expressions have to have variables. Okay, so some things that might be new to you is the way that multiplication is shown when we're using algebra. So there are a couple different ways that multiplication can be used. We are not going to be using an x anymore for multiplication. I know we're all used to seeing that. And the reason is if we're using variables, like let's say we have a p, it gets confusing because this x, this multiplication sign looks like an x. And it makes it confusing because we might be using x as a variable. So this is not how we're going to be using multiplication anymore. We're not going to be using an x. You might see a dot to show my multiplication. You might see parentheses to show multiplication. Almost always when we're doing multiplication problems with algebra, we will be using this though, where the number and the variable are right next to each other and touching. So when a number is touching a variable right in front of it with no space in between, that means that you are going to multiply. This means 5 times x. And remember, we'll be using our order of operations still that we learned about last time, which is PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So we still have that order of operations, that list that tells us which order to do math calculations. Today, we're going to be evaluating. When you evaluate an expression, it means you are going to solve the expression. So over here, I'm going to do these 3 examples with you, and then you're going to try some on your own. I have the expression 16 plus b. It is telling me that b is 25. And you might hear the word plug in or substitute. Those are words that we often use when we're solving algebraic expressions. We're going to take this 25 and we're going to plug it in for b. We're going to substitute it in or put it in for b. So now I have 16 plus 25. And now I can find my answer to the expression because I know what b equals, and that is 41. Let's look at the next example. So in this example, I have x and y, x minus y. It is telling me in blue that x is 64. So I'm going to put 64 in for x. And it's telling me that y is 27. So I'm going to put 27 in for y. Now I realize that you might need to use a calculator for some of these that I'm doing in my head. And that's okay if you need to, or you can always write on the side of your paper like that. And the answer is 37. Now here's an example like I was just talking about. We have 6 and x. Now remember, when a variable and a number are touching each other, it means that you are going to multiply them. So we are going to take 6 and we're going to multiply it by this 1/2 that we're plugging in for x. Remember, you can put a 1 on the bottom of a whole number, and we're going to multiply it times 1/2. So we're going to go straight across, or you might know what 1/2 times 6 is. And I have 6 over 2. Well, 6 divided by 2, that equals 3, or 1/2 of 6 is 3. I would like you to try some on your own now, so please turn your book to page 450. At the very, very bottom of the page, there is a got it. In your book, it will say A, B, C, and D. And go ahead and try to find the answers to those problems. Pause your video. All right, hopefully you have solved the problems and are ready to go over them. So let's look at this first one. So A is 6, B is 4, and C is 1/3. Those are the numbers that we're going to be plugging into the expressions. So in number 1, we have A plus 6. Well, I know A is 6. That's what the problem is telling me. So I have 6 plus 8, which is 14. Let's look at 2. So in number 2, we have A minus B. Okay, so I just saw that A is 6. And now I need B for this. B is 4. So I'm going to do some subtraction. 6 minus 4 is 2. Okay, I'm going to use A and B again for the next one. This time they're touching. I think in your book they actually put it with a dot in between. We have A times B. So we have A is 6, B is 4, and that makes 24. Okay, last one. This one uses C, so this one's going to include a new number. We have 9, and then C, which is 1/3. So we're going to put a 1/3 in for C. They're touching each other, so I know it's multiplication. 9 times 1/3. Remember to put a 1 on the bottom of a whole number, and then we multiply straight across. 9 times 1 is 9. 3 times 1 is 3. Well, I know that 9 divided by 3 is 3. And there's my answer. If you got some of those wrong, hopefully you're understanding why. And if you get stuck, you can always come and ask me during WIN or during work time. Let's look at a couple more examples. So these are multi-step expressions. So they might get a little bit more challenging. Let's take a look. So in our first one, we have 5t plus 4. We're going to take 3, we're going to plug it in for t. So I like to rewrite the expression just the way it looks. 5 times 3 plus 4. Here's where I might have to use my order of operations. I know multiplication comes before addition, so I'm going to use multiplication first. And I have 15 plus 4, which is 19. Let's look at the next one. We're going to use some fractions now, so it's going to get trickier. This time I'm putting 1/5 in for A. Again, it's multiplication because they're touching. I have 10 times 1/5 plus 7. Let's put a 1 on the bottom. And I have, if I multiply straight across, I have 10 over 5 plus 7. Well, 10 divided by 5, I know that's 2. So this will end up being 2 plus 7, which equals 9. Okay, one more. Ooh, this one's going to be tricky. I've got 1/8 this time. So I'm putting 1/8 in for x. I'm going to do that exponent part first because I know that comes early in the order of operations. I don't have any parentheses, so I can skip to exponents. 1/8 to the second power means that I have 1/8 times 1/8. Remember, I have 2 of them. That is 1 over 64. Now I need to take that 1/64 and multiply it by 4. So I'm going to go way up here. 4 times 1 over 64. Put a 1 on the bottom. Multiply straight across. 4 over 64. In this example, I know I can divide the top and the bottom by 4. You might divide by 2 and divide by 2 again. Finally, I will get an answer of 1 over 16. Okay, let's try just 3 more on your own, and then we'll wrap up this video lesson. In your book, on page 451, at the very bottom, you have 3 new expressions. This time it's telling you that D is 12 and E is 1/3. Please pause the video and try those on your own and then come right back to go over them. Okay, let's see how you did. So in our first one, we have 2D minus 5, or 2 times D minus 5. Well, remember, D is 12. So I have 2 times 12 minus 5. 2 times 12 is 24. Take away 5 is 19. Let's look at number 2 now. I have 50 minus 3 times D. Ooh, D is 12, so 50 minus 3 times D. Now I know a lot of you are going to start by doing 50 minus 3 first. But using our order of operations, remember multiplication comes before subtraction, using PEMDAS. So I need to do my 3, oops, I forgot to plug in my 12, so I'm going to write it just right over the top. I'm going to do 3 times 12 first. 3 times 12 is 36, so I'm going to do 15 minus 36, which is 14. Okay, last one, 9 times e to the second power. So E is 1/3, so I'm going to plug that right in there. 9 times 1/3 to the second power. I'm going to put it in parentheses just to show that the whole thing is going to the second power. 1/3 to the second power is 1/3 times 1/3. And since it's all multiplication, I'm going to put that 9 in there too. I'll put a 1 on the bottom. 9 times 1 times 1 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. Ooh, that worked out nicely. 9 divided by 9, or 9 over 9, is a whole, is 1. I'm going to skip those slides. They're not as important for our homework today. So for homework, we are going to go complete an assignment on Class Kick. I should say, and Class Kick, really. You're going to complete it on Class Kick, and you're going to submit it on Canvas. And let me open the assignments that you can look at it. Should have been a little bit more prepared there. on this assignment, you're going to choose which level you want to work on. And you're going to complete either one problem from each slide or two problems from each slide. So the assignment is called Variables and Expressions Practice. And on the first slide, you'll see it tells you the directions. So for near mastery, you're going to complete one problem on each slide. Mastery, you're going to complete both problems on each slide. And for exceeds mastery, you're going to complete both problems on each slide. And you're going to complete numbers 16, 17, and 18 on page 454. So here's the slides. You'll see that there's two problems on each. If you're doing near mastery, you're going to choose one of them to complete. And if you're choosing mastery or exceeds mastery, you'll do both. And you'll work through each of these slides. If you have extra time at the end, go back and complete some more. And the last slide is for exceeds mastery if you chose to do those extra problems. You'll put a picture there. When you're done, you'll submit those screenshots of that assignment on Canvas. Let me know if you have any questions.